What's up YouTube? I'm Adam Jones, but you might remember me as old guy trying to stay relevant on YouTube. So it's been about 4 weeks since my last video I made, which was like a day or two after I got hurt and going to get x-rays. I'm still struggling, to be honest with you. Shoulder is, it seems like it's starting to come along right now at the 4-week mark. I'm finally just being able to move and do a couple little things, but it's definitely, it's been a lot more difficult than I expected it to be with the AC joint, and I don't know, I'm going to give it a couple more weeks, and then if it's still hurting, I'll probably end up getting an MRI and see if I damage the rotator cuff. But that's not the point of this video today. The point of this video today is to go back in time a little bit and touch on my most famous crash ever, which was 2007 LG Action Sports massive crash in a cliffhanger flip. I figured this would be a fun little video to do because this is ancient history. I mean, I'm pretty sure 2007 was like pre-Instagram. So most of my followers have probably never seen this, never knew that this happened, but it did. So we're gonna talk about that today. I'm gonna play back some of the video. The only video I have of it, to be honest, I don't have any pictures of anything other than just this one video clip. So talk you guys through it, show you where it went wrong, what happened, and what I learned on cliffhanger flips, and what I've done to this day since then to try to make sure it doesn't happen again. So let's talk crashes. So to go back for the setting of this video, this was in 2007. It was the LG Action Sports event, which I believe was, it was in August, I think, late August, somewhere around there. It was, you know, a month and a half after I had just won my first and only gold medal at X Games, coming off a massive high. LG was always like the hardest event for me. Those courses were always super technical, and I never really had the mindset to like play to the course. I always thought that I was going to be able just to do all my gnarliest stuff over every jump, and it bit me a lot, screwed up a lot of runs, and especially a lot of runs at technical places like that. So coming into LG, it was a tough weekend for me, and well, I mean, I knew it was going to be a tough weekend for me coming into it just because it always was, but I really had no idea how bad it was going to be. So basically, I took my first ever helicopter flight at this LG event. I don't remember any of it at all, but yeah, woke up in a LA County hospital somewhere. I don't even know. My manager, Jimmy Button, was the only person there when I woke up that I recognized, and I was in there for, I don't even know, maybe 2 days, something like that, and I wasn't getting any help in the LA County hospital. There was like, I think one of the people that was straight across a bed straight across had been like hit by a car, like on purpose, and then there was, you know, like people who were shot in like gang incidents in there, and it was like people just kept coming in with all these gnarly things going on, and I was super banged up, but I wasn't critical or anything, so it was like I just kept getting pushed back more and more and more, and I was in there for, I don't know, a night, 2 nights, and nothing, I got nowhere, you know. I just kept getting put off and waited more and more, and they were talking about surgery and everything, but they weren't doing anything. So finally, my mom came down to help me in the hospital, and finally, like, I got myself up, and I was like, let's get the hell out of here. So we got out of the LA County Hospital and went to, I think, a Murrieta hospital, and got checked up there, and everything ended up being okay. I didn't need any surgeries, but I broke 6 ribs. I shattered my scapula. It was broken in 7 places. Your scapula is like the big flat one in the back. Bruised my lung, broke my nose, and just had a super gnarly concussion. So you know, I was pretty banged up from that one, and it took a long time to heal. I had to get shoulder surgery on my right shoulder because it dislocated, I guess, during the crash too, and I just don't, riding with shoulders that dislocates no good. So basically I had like 2 months right after the injury, and I stayed at home. I did nothing. I couldn't really get around too good. I was pretty banged up. And then after that 2 months, I flew back down to Murrieta. I had surgery on my right shoulder, and I had old rods that were left in my leg. I had a femur rod and I had a tib fib rod from previous breaks, and I figured I'm gonna be down for a while now, it's a good time to get these out. So I tried to get them out, and they only got my femur rod out, and they said they beat on my lower leg as much as they could to try to get the rod out, but they couldn't get it out. So that one stayed in there, and just that surgery alone on my leg like really, really banged me up. I mean, it felt like I broke my leg again after all that stuff, and took me a while just to feel good from that. But yeah, I remember like going through the airport on the way home, and I'm trying to be on crutches with, I just had surgery on my femur and my tib fib to get rods out, and I had my right shoulder, just had a labrum repair surgery on that one, and I'm by myself at the airport, like trying to get through the airport, one-armed, and yeah, on crutches, and it was pretty gnarly. But off the bike for a long time. I got super banged up, and just a bunch of little stuff that added up, and then, you know, back to healing, and then getting surgery, and then taking the time to heal from that. It was a long time off the bike. So let's go into the crash. Let's talk a little bit more about that. So the trick that I crashed on was a cliffhanger flip, and this is like super early days of cliffhanger flips. So we didn't really, you know, back then, like everything was trial and error. We had to figure out what worked and what didn't. So back then, cliffhanger flips, we never even thought, you know, this was at the stage when we would do backflips, and we were so uncomfortable doing backflips that we had to keep our head back the whole time, for one, to make sure we rotated, and for two, to spot our landing as soon as possible, because I guess we just weren't really that good at flips anymore. So I was doing cliffhanger flips back then, and I'd never look at the bars. I'd flip, I'd put my feet up, and then I'd cliffhanger, and I'd go back down. And I mean, I had only been doing cliffhanger flips at this point for 2 or 3 months, maybe a little more, so not very good at them still. And what happened in this particular instance was I did run-of-the-mill thing, and I think probably what happened a little bit was this ramp, it went up against a fence, and then it took a right turn. So you had to have your momentum going, and you had to make like a 45 right-hand turn straight into the ramp. So it was kind of like awkward, off-balance position. So I don't remember any of this. I was KO'd, and like I remember like very little of the whole night. But so I flip, and I do the leg grab part. I let my hands go, and then since my head's back, I come back and I'm reaching for my bars, and I can't find them. So my feet don't go anywhere. My feet stay at the bar level, and you can see the whole time I'll slow it down. I'm just kind of searching for my bars, and I can't find them. So what happened, I'm guessing, was I just took off the ramp a little off balance. When I cliffhangered, my bars might have turned just a little bit. So when I put my hands back, they weren't in the exact same spot that I left them. Couldn't find them. And then from there, pretty much all hell broke loose. It was kind of like a little downhill thing, so it just whipped me off to the side. I landed fully just right side, just whiplashed my head. Really gnarly. I don't remember any of it. Like straight unconscious. The first time I actually had clarity from this crash, to where if you've ever been knocked out, you know how this is. Everything's dream sequence, and then all of a sudden, just like that, you go, oh, what the? So I was in the hospital. I was already in a hospital bed, missed the whole helicopter ride, don't remember any of that. I don't remember any movements or anything. And yeah, I snapped to, and I was in a hospital bed in the LA County Hospital, and my manager, Jimmy Button, was there, and I was just like, uh-oh, what happened? That's the moment of realization, like, holy shit, I just crashed, and I don't know where I'm at right now. So that was how the crash happened. Yeah, so nowadays, if you've ever noticed, when me or most anybody else does cliffhanger flips, we look at our handlebars the whole time. It's flip, look at your bars, hook your feet, hands up, and then hands back down. Any backflip stuff that we do now, we keep our eyes on the bars almost all the time, because with flips, if you just have a tiny little bit of off balance, your bars turn. And if you're not looking, you can't find them. So I think this was like an awakening for me, that it's like, if you want to do cliffhanger flips, you have to look at your bars. You have to know where they're at. If they turn, you've got to be able to make the adjustment on the fly and grab them. So yeah, we just didn't know back then. We were all trial and error, and just, we learned the hard way. So you can see in the video, I'm laying there, and just, you know, there's a tiny little bit where they zoom in on my eyes and I'm awake, but I'm complete space cadet. And then there's, yeah, it's Twitch. I don't even know where Twitch was at. I'm guessing he was on either, you know, a podium, or he was maybe next up to ride. I'm not sure, but, you know, Twitch, one of the first guys over there to see if I'm okay. And, you know, I was, but I was freaking beat up. And it's a strange thing, I think, to ride an event like that after something like that. So I never said this to these guys, but hey guys, sorry, didn't mean to do that to you before you had to go out and ride. So one of the props that I have left is I kept my helmet from this crash. I actually keep all my helmets, but yeah, this one's a little different than any of the other ones I have, because, I mean, I've sprayed this thing off, I just never polished it or anything, but that, if you can see, all that is just old, dried up blood. But aside from that, like, I mean, for as hard as I hit my head, this helmet, it held up really good, and these pads in here used to be just soaked full of blood and everything. It's pretty gross. Yeah, I was definitely bleeding out of my face pretty good, and there's definitely some remnants there. Like I said, I have pressure washed this, but I don't know. Is that gross to leave it there? Probably. So that was one of my bigger injuries. Less known at this point. It's 13 years ago now. So, you know, if it ain't on social media, who even knows about it? But that was also one of the injuries that it took me like a really long time to mentally recover from. I had a hard time like getting all my I flipped no problem, but it was just, I don't know, there must have been some sort of mental block with flips there, flip combos. I could do them, but I wasn't doing any of them good. I wasn't feeling good on the bike. I wasn't feeling comfortable. And I just think, you know, it's the price you pay sometimes for a big flip crash. And I think probably all in all, 5 to 6 months off the bike for that. One of the things I find so strange about this video, because when I watch this video, it's like the same as you guys watching this video. I have no recollection of any of it at all. But it's strange because, you know, I had like a serious head injury, and from all accounts on the track, I was knocked out for a while, and I don't remember anything until I was in the hospital. But it's crazy when you see me hit the ground and I stop, and then you see my hand go up and like try to get my goggles off. So there was something in the brain that was functioning there that just thought, damn, these goggles are uncomfortable right now, need to get them off. But I always found that to be super strange because, you know, everybody said, hey, you were out cold down there. So I don't know. Natural tendency, I guess. Take the goggles off. Crash, take the goggles off. Well, I think I rambled on about this enough. It was a big deal for me at the time, and I thought it'd just be interesting to talk about it. I don't think a lot of people really know about it or have seen it or anything like that. So figured we'd talk about some ancient history, and you know, it's just kind of crazy to have a year where you have like the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, because you know, what, a month or so after the coolest thing that's ever happened to me in my FMX career, I have a gnarly injury and get life flighted to the hospital and take the rest of the year off the bike. So strange how life works, but I guess we all got our ups and downs. So that's it for today. I'll be back stronger than ever, another month or two, something like that. We'll see. We got nothing but time right now, but thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll catch you on the next episode of Old Guys Staying Relevant. Trying to stay relevant. Unsuccessfully. See ya.